threats to it. So I will hand you over to them. Thank you. Do you want me to close this one? I've got no way to do it. Okay.
All right. Thank you for coming. Well, I will start this presentation. I wanted to talk a little bit of my fieldwork, and since I just come back from fieldwork, I'm sort of quite excited to share all those things. So, but before, I just want to tell a little bit of what is my research about. So what I'm doing research in Kautokeino, which is one of the Sámi communes in Norway. And I'm doing research with their material culture. So I went there. I went there with a different focus. Like, it was not just like looking at materials and objects, but with a different focus. The field made me change a little bit. The place made me change a little bit my focus. So what I ended up doing was having an apprenticeship in a local handicraft workshop. So the theme of my research is to look at those like small relationships between humans and objects, and humans and materials, humans and their environment. To look at what people do with the materials. So it's very like Latour's ANT theory, or like an object-oriented ontology, which I'm not totally going through it, but it's sort of the basis of my theory. And to look at those small relations and see how that affects the Sami identity issues, indigeneity issues, political concerns within Scandinavia and the Nordic countries, and how those two things, these micro relations of like very practical and personal engagement with nature, influence and affect the bigger picture, which is the political international scene of like indigeneity and or issues of land use, environment, weather changing, all those things. Should I use this? Oh, okay. So this is basically what I just said. This is like a sketch of my mind frame on this research. So my focus is the like Sami handicraft, and this is the term that they use, which is Duodji. And Duodji is not just like handicraft, like small things, but it's all material culture. So it can be like buildings, boats, their tents, garments, all the thing that is material and that carries their like some sort of significance toward their identity, toward their personality. So, well, before I continue, actually, I brought some things that I have done. Thank you very much. I'll explain a little bit later what those are, but those are it's like an image of how like the Sami handicraft, or most of like traditional local handicrafts are related to the environment. So this is the reindeer antlers, reindeer bone, reindeer leather, moose. So it's all things that are there in the region that makes them makes their place, makes their surroundings, and also things that are being affected by international involvement, like politics, seasons and weather changing, well, especially this area in Kautokeino, which I'm just about to show. This area of Kautokeino, this is a map that I've drawn when I was there. In this area, there's they call themselves the center of the Sami culture in Norway. So everything that I say, like when they say, is what people say to me. So is a Sami person talking to me about themselves. So they call it the center of the Sami culture in Norway. And in this area, the surroundings of this area are very much affected by the mining company and oil companies that are trying to input to make their stuff there, and they're not how should I say, it doesn't care. Maybe it's too harsh, but they don't understand the importance of the environment, of the surroundings for the people. It's not. I mean, this is not about just some people. It's about people in general. So Kautokeino, the area that I was having my field work. In the Sami language, in the North Sami, which is the area that Kautokeino is located, they call it Duodji, which means the middle of the way, or halfway. That has like different interpretations, and they taught me that it can mean the middle of the way of the earlier reindeer herders coming from the north towards the coast of Norway. I'm just going to show a little later a map of Norway for you to just locate the place. Or it can be also related to being the middle, the center of Sápmi, which is the Sami area in Scandinavia. So Kautokeino is here. I don't know if you can see, I should have done a little bit bigger, but it was larger on my laptop. So this number 5 here is the North Sami language root. Each one of these are a different Sami language, and many of the language acts of the past, they've tried to comprise the Sami language in one concise general language, having the North Sami as their base for grammar and terms and everything. But as people told me also, I wasn't very sure before I went there, but people told me that each of the Sami languages are completely different from each other. Not completely different, of course they're related, but they are different languages. And so that should be also, that is also an issue of trying to explicit that identity, that Sami different identities, not just one Sami identity. Okay. Well, this term is not mine also. While talking to people there, the Sami people, they like to call themselves a cultural bubble in Norway. Because they say that they are not, well, I think all of the Sami communes in Norway don't say that they are Norwegian and Sami. They're basically just Sami, but in here they say that they are not Norwegian and that Norway doesn't have any effects on their culture. And I find it's quite interesting. I mean, of course, not 100%, but it's quite interesting to see like people talking about themselves that way. But they call it Utrogo. They call it that because in Kautokeino is a place that people can speak Sami, not just freely, because I mean nowadays people can speak any language freely, but they can use the Sami language in their daily routine. And I want to tell just this small story that I was talking to my colleague at the workshop, and she told me that she went to a neighbor town, which is also a Sami commune. And she went to the supermarket, and the cashier talked to her in Norwegian, and she was really angry with the cashier. And she said, "You were a Sami. I know you. You were Sami. You live in a Sami commune. You cannot speak Norwegian. You should speak Sami." But that's another issue on that area also, because not all the Sami communes people can actually speak Sami. In Kautokeino, and again, this is what people told me, is one of the only areas that you can speak 100% Sami. You can be 100% Sami without having to rely on any other language and identity or anything. And there was a time that I'm not quite sure, like around 50s or 60s, when the Sami people around, like not only Norway but in other places in Scandinavia, they were trying to bring it back, their identity, to learn again the Sami languages. They send their children to Kautokeino to spend some time in Kautokeino, because there they could learn the language and they could, well, and I quote because this is something that they say, be Sami again. So that's the question about this, the cultural bubble. And well, about Duodji again. So I don't know where my objects are right now. Over there. But those pieces, they are made from reindeer antlers. And on my research, I tried to, well, not to avoid, because it's not something that I don't want to talk about, but I wanted to look at the Sami identity to a different kind of, different lenses. So not to go for a research again on the reindeer herders and the reindeer husbandry and politics around that. So try to give a different perspective. But as everything is connected, the reindeer husbandry, the reindeer herders, the reindeer acts in Norway, or in Sweden, in Finland also, affects also the Duodji. Not just because of like economics, but reindeer herders have to slaughter a number of their reindeers because to apply on the Norwegian well, like cattle laws, so they have to slaughter a number of their reindeers, and like smaller herders lost, well, their whole lifestyle because of that, because they rely much on the reindeer, not just as the main product of their income, but as like a secondary level of that, like Duodji or well, selling pieces and everything. So weather changing also affects that, because two of the pieces that are around there, they are knife sheets, and those two are the sheets that I was doing for my knife, and they broke in the middle of the way. And what my master told me is that those antler pieces were not good because the reindeer were not well fed, and they didn't have enough graze. They were too young, or they were too weak to make a good antler to use as handicraft. So, well, the start of this presentation is to show all those things, and to talk about all those things, and to show like everything is connected. And in this personal level of like artisanship and design, and touching the material, touching the raw material, engaging with nature, and the larger, bigger picture of the politics, weather change, and sorts. These last slides, I just want to talk a little bit about pictures, because, well, they're, I don't know, the press wrong way. So here is the knife that I was making. And, yeah, so this one is the first one that I tried to do. And you can see here there's too much marrow, so it was not good to finish my knife. So it broke down. I have to start again. And it's always they tell me, well, it's because of the grazing, because we have to apply for like a grazing laws also that really directly affects our reindeer, affects our lifestyle, and yeah, they're really passionate to talk about those issues and those well, especially because I was in Kautokeino, about Norway and about the south, because they call it Norway the south. And I remember the talk today, like it's like today the first talk, the keynote speaker. It was so different kinds of north. So north is just a perspective. So for some, Norway is the south. Yeah, this is some other pieces of the reindeer antler, and those are better pieces, but they come with a price, and a very like high price, so they're really more expensive to use, because on the workshop, and just a little bit earlier of that. Not everyone, like around 10% of Sami people, they actually have reindeer to herd as first income. So the institute, the handicraft institute, have to buy the Sami, the reindeer antlers and the reindeer pieces and everything, because they don't have reindeer themselves. So, but if you wanted like a good piece like that, it would be very expensive to make. Oh, this is just a toy. Is it what's it called? It's not a duck. It's a grouse beak and some antler pieces. And those are my 3 knife sheets. The 2 that didn't work that you are holding now, and this is the last one that my master he was hiding that one for him to use. And it was like, okay, just give it to you. You can finish your knife. I'm like, yeah, well, thank you. You see how it broke down. And this might finish at night with all the engravings last thing about the connection with the nature. They always tell that you don't only use the nature like as a raw material, but you also have to use nature as a tool. So they always tell me, when I'm sanding my pieces, I cannot look just like with my naked eye inside a building or inside the workshop. I have to go outside by the sun, because the sun will tell if I have made any mistakes or anything. Yeah. So just to finish, because I know that I have just 1 minute probably. Just want to say that these things, the Duodji, the reindeer, is not something that Sami people do or people in general do, but they make people also. So the things that we do ourselves. So Duodji, the way that it affects like the materials, the objects, the income affects the Sami also in their own identity, personality, political, cultural issues as well. I think I finished. Yes.